Hello, everyone. Welcome to my live reading. I'm just holding space that the technology is working properly this time. For all of you who caught my earlier Facebook Live and are tuning in, I really appreciate you coming on to share energy with me. And for those of you who saw the replay on my YouTube channel here and thought that it was live, my apologies because that was an error in the way I coded it. So I'm just going to give it a couple seconds here to have people pop on. I've had people hitting me up on Facebook letting me know they've been looking for the stream to start. And in the meanwhile, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Joelle. I am the Vibrarian. I am here to elevate, enlighten, and empower with information that I trust you will find helpful, informative, and positive in terms of its contribution to your reality. Now, I cannot tell from my view if the feed is sticking, if it's choppy. So, anybody who happens to be listening in, please let me know if you are seeing everything okay, or if it's, pixelated, or if the sound is not coming through, if it's sticking. My view is definitely frozen. So I'm hoping that this is going to go okay. If it does not, then I will pop over to Facebook. Now, I do know that I can do lives over there. I did do a test stream here. Um, I'm really debating on which to do because there is something about being able to capture these readings live where the cards are coming and the guidance is coming that is definitely different energetically from posting it as a recording afterwards. So I would prefer to be in a live environment if at all possible. So if you're tuning in and are catching the feed, please let me know how the sound is, if everything's a go or if it's choppy. I can see there are a couple people in the room. Welcome to tonight's live. It's a new moon in Virgo. So this is all about, we're going to be talking about planting seeds and making sure that we have our intentions clear for what we would like to later be able to harvest in our life. So I'm trying to pause in between statements here just to get a sense of whether everyone is able to hear and see the feed okay before I start channeling information. Because once it starts coming, it's kind of hard until the teaching kind of comes out for me to stop. So if you're in the chat room and can give me a indicator, I would really appreciate it. I'm probably going to go ahead and head over to Facebook shortly because I am definitely not getting feedback. I do say there are a couple people here, but there must be a delay in terms of what is coming through because I'm not getting any chat messages. And my own picture, in terms of how it's viewing on the stream, is a little wonky. And I'd rather be sure that everything is captured because I won't be able to repeat the information that comes through because it does come through very fast for me. So I'll give it just a little bit more time here before I continue. I do see people dropping from the feed, so we will assume that that is something to do with the quality. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Facebook Live and we will go from there. One of these days, this YouTube live will work out right. But today, it looks like it is not flowing seamlessly. So rather than waste anyone's time, I will definitely switch over. So please head over to the Vibrarian on Facebook. Thank you. Well, wait a second. If you're here and you can hear me, okay, and see me without it being choppy, please let me know in the chat. Let's see if I can see myself what's happening here. Please forgive me for all of the technical. Hey, chilling with Auntie. Can you hear me okay? Is the stream choppy at all? Is it going through? Because I can't see anything at all in terms of the video. It's completely frozen. Frozen. Okay, it looks like it's good. I'm just not experiencing it correct. So, what I will do here is I've got my little phone handy, so I'll be able to actually see the picture and the cards that I'm putting up. So, everyone, thank you so much for your patience. So, I'm here to do a reading for the new moon in Virgo. So, first of all, the new moon in Virgo, I wanted to bring out some guidance from several decks. One of the decks that I love right now is the Moonology deck. Um, and this is by Yasmin Boland. And this deck here, it says, "Let the moon be your guide." Okay, so um, I wanted to find out a little bit of information about what the new moon in Virgo energy is. I already had like a basic understanding, but I wanted to find out from a person who's a little more of an expert astrologer, what they felt that these energies are bringing. And as you can see here, this is in a green background, which really speaks to heart-centered energy. And as you can see here, this female is in kind of contemplation and quietness. We have the moon in its new state. So a time to give rather than to take. New moon Virgo. Now, new moons are times when planting the seeds of what you want. So if it's about giving rather than taking, taking is basically then when you receive your harvest. But giving is a beautiful time of energy to go ahead and put what you want to put into your seeds of manifestation, conscious manifestation. Okay, so hey Brucellis, hello, so wonderful to see you. This is my sister from Mexico. Thank you for joining me this evening. Okay, so according to the guidance book that she has here, they talk about how ask yourself, where are you and where do you want to go? The new moon energy suggests a restart, and Virgo suggests that you make the restart a clever one that is simple and well organized. If you've been unwell, this card suggests that your health is on the up. Virgo loves clean eating and alternative therapy, so add these to your routines now, however you've been feeling. If a situation is blocked at the moment, it could be that you're overanalyzing things or being too critical. It's time to ask less what someone else can do for you and to think more about what you can do for others. Okay, so in Virgo, Virgo is really the virgin. So we're talking about like the clean slate, the place of being pure and pristine, which is what Virgo embodies. And also in the tarot, the Virgo is represented in the major arcana with the card of the Hermit. Now, this card is from the Sun and Moon Tarot deck, which I just received. It's gorgeous. I love this image. As you can see here, the lady's got like gray locks, which I think is awesome. All right. Gray certainly speaks to wisdom and knowledge. And we see here the Om, which is the sound of creation. And so we are definitely looking to embody our creator possibilities, all that we are, when we look to plant the seeds of our manifestation. The Hermit card is speaking to us about going away and coming outside of society. coming out into the hermit goes away from all that he knows and those around him to seek the solitude whereby you can access the light of your own counsel. So oftentimes this card is depicted of somebody in a cave with the lantern of illumination held before you, but that illumination absolutely comes from within, and it comes from that connection to your divine self. um, your divine knowledge that when the stillness is there, that information can be delivered to you from the highest possible aspect of your creator self, so that you are able to then return to the fold, return to society, and share the wisdom that you gained, about yourself by how you change and embody yourself, by the things that you decide to do with your energies, and then by the teaching and passing on of that information, the light of illumination that comes from inside of you that is passed on to other people. So, um, I think that this is really a beautiful energy that combines with this opportunity for the new moon. And what I received this morning in my meditation time was these words: seeding and weeding. Okay, so what my guides and the conversation that they were having with me is that there are certain things that when we plant seeds, a lot of times we're looking at our material manifestation, what we're bringing out of our divine space into the earth to make manifest as part of our reality. What happens is that we get caught into a 3D system of manifesting, where we envision what things look like and we forget to work with what things feel like. The feeling is more important than the actual particulars of what something looks like. So what happens is people tend to um, get the things that they envision for themselves, but then they find they're unhappy, or their energy is not actually shifted once they receive their conscious creation. And that is very much because of how you were feeling when you were envisioning. So if you were stressing as you were thinking about your beautiful house and home, and you were worried about where it was going to come from, but you knew what it wanted to look like, then of course you are going to have an experience, then when you do get what you envision, that there is a level of stress included with it. And so a lot of times we're accidentally manifesting things into our conscious reality because we have not dealt with our emotional state. And the elemental scheme of things, water is the energy of our emotions. So when you're looking at planting and seeding, and your soil and the whole growth process, your emotions, how you feel about stuff, is what you are, nurturing the seeds that you're planting with, and that will then determine how those seeds grow. So it's very important to look at your emotional state. So one of the things that I wanted to do this evening, and the way that the guidance was shown to me, is I have this beautiful deck called the Mixed Emotions deck. Okay, so this is a very interesting deck of cards that speak to different energies. The pictures are very interesting, and so the guidance that comes when I see these is very clear. So what we're going to be looking at are 9 cards, 9 energies that are needing to be brought to our awareness, that are going to talk about the emotional things that we either want to plant into our seed for our conscious creation, or we want to weed out of our soil so that it does not affect what it is that we are growing. So this is going to be a rather in-depth reading here. And like I said, I'm using the Mixed Emotions cards. So we're first going to start with 9 energies, 9 being the gestational cycle of when we are bringing something from that seed point of bringing into the world in terms of the human gestational cycle. And of course, September being the 9th month, there's a lot of resonance to that energy as well. So let's look here. We're going to look at our current selves and the things that we want to be aware of energetically in our emotional body, so that we have the best and highest possible outcome for our future potential, which is starting now at the seed point. Now, let me also say that I only connect with the energies of unconditional love and light. And I ask that any guidance that is delivered through me is for the best and highest good of all who hear it, and that it is truthful. And so it is. Okay. So, first emotions. We'll get all of these out here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. So, first of all, what is the first emotion that we need to be aware of in our energy body? Okay, the first card that comes out is the card of jealousy. Okay, so as you can see here, this person is looking outside, looking in on somebody's reality. And they see here a couple. It's kind of like they're looking from behind the curtain. So jealousy is an energy that we absolutely want to remove from our paradigm. The reason that jealousy happens is because it comes from a vibration of lack, where we see someone else have something that we wish that we could have, and that we see it lacking in our own reality. And so we look at what the other people have been able to manifest with a negative charge to it. Now, I believe that this universe is absolutely abundant. So, in terms of jealousy as an energy, it supports the position then that you do not have within your ability to manifest the same energies that you are observing in others that you are jealous of. So, what we have to look at a lot of times also is the programming that we're receiving from the matrix. When we see these houses on the TV shows, and when we see people's reality show lives, and when we see the commercials from Home Depot and all the home improvement stores showing us the fancy appliances that we could upgrade to, when we see all of those accoutrements of a beautiful, fixer upper, we watch the home improvement shows and we see people getting their houses made over. We see romance stories and love stories, and we see other people around us. All of these things are sent to us as messaging with the purpose of motivating us into spending our money, spending our energy in pursuit of those things, because supposedly they equate into happiness. So I would absolutely make sure that you weed out the idea of jealousy out of your whole perspective, because anything that you see that you could desire, one, you have to realize that what you see on the surface is probably not necessarily the reality. You might see the facade of the set on TV or in the movie, and you don't see the backdrop that says, well, this is just a fake front of the building, and these are actors and actresses, and this is not real. Or you don't see this beautiful house that you want, and then all of the fights and the problems that are existing within the people who live in that house. You don't necessarily see the fatigue of the people who are working to maintain that house. So all you're seeing is a superficial presentation of it. So I absolutely would encourage you to look at any area where you have jealousy coming in to your energy field, and making sure that you are not manifesting out of a covetous or energy of I want what another person has, because we have the opportunity to absolutely have all that our hearts desire. We really are meant to be thriving and abundant, and to be comfortable, and to have beauty around us in all levels of manifestation. So let's definitely look at jealousy as a weed. The second card we have here, this is beautiful. This is the energy of trusting. Now, trust is a beautiful thing. Here in the Hermit card that I had at the beginning, one of the images, the Yod, is in the card. That's from the Hebrew alphabet. And that is for the energy of trust, according to the author of this particular tarot deck. It was in the guidance that I was reading as I was looking at her particular artistic representation. So here we're talking about a trust exercise, right? So we absolutely have to know that when we are intending something, when we are envisioning it, when there's an idea or a spark of creation that comes to our awareness that tells us, you know what? I want this. I can have this. I know that I have within my power to create for myself the comfortable home, to create, to align with the job that makes me happy. This is beautiful because it really is a trust exercise, but our partnership is with the divine, our divine self, trusting ourselves and being willing to let go of our fears and our 3D frameworks and our thought processes, let go and allow ourselves to be caught by the divine, to use that energy of our divine conscious creation, trusting and knowing we don't have to dig up the seeds then and make sure it's growing what we want it to grow. We know that we have sent the right seed down and that we have watered it with the right emotions, and we can trust that this then is going to grow. We don't go pulling up the carrots halfway through the carrot cycle to see if it's really a carrot. We trust that the seed is there and that we've been doing what it needs to do in order to go ahead and flourish. Okay, so now the next energy is that of uncertainty. We absolutely would want to look to weed the uncertainty out of ourselves. The key lesson in this card, if you can see, these paths go off into diverging places. However, we have to know that all of the choices that we make are for our growth and development. So while you may take the left road, you may take the right road, it does not matter ultimately because you are moving forward, and that this is not the final decision. A lot of times we become uncertain because we say, if I decide this, what is going to happen? If I make the wrong choice, what is going to be the outcome of this? It talks about uncertain, doubtful, not confident. That is the opposite of trust. So know that no matter what it is that you are choosing, that as long as your energy and your emotion and your connection is aligned with the divine, then the journey will be one that is beautiful to either of the potential destinations. All in all, we are elevating, we are rising, and we are ascending. So you can have that assurance in your energy and not have that feeling of doubt, not have that feeling of uncertainty about which thing I should do. And if you are, then that's when the hermit time comes in, where you can step away from the thinking, step into the stillness, step into communion with yourself, and give the higher self space for it to become known to you more about what is the right choice that you need to make. We never want to be manifesting out of an insecurity and uncertainty. Okay, the next emotion that is something for us to be putting into our seeds. I love this. This is orange. This is our sacral chakra. This is all about our creative connections. This is all that we do. The golden rule is to do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. Part of the whole pyramid structure that has gone awry has been the idea that it's a dog eat dog world, it's a shark tank. What we have to do is realize that as all abundance is available to us as it is available to others. So we do not have to do things that are disadvantaging other people. We don't have to gouge people for our services and the things that we do. We can make sure that, because we know the universe is supporting us as we are in our divine gifts. If I am an artist, if I am a painter, if I am an accountant, if I am a teacher, what I am giving to the world out of my joyful service, out of my gifts, then I will receive back that energy. You can see these two beings are bowing to each other in a respectful thing. The law of give and take. And one of the first things that we saw here was it's time to give rather than to take, right? Was in this initial card. So here we have mutuality. It has deferential, courteous, and admiring, right? So, absolutely, as you give, shall you receive, as above, below. Allow others their sovereignty. You do not have to do anything that impedes about anyone else's free will in order to manifest your dream. You don't have to trample people in Walmart to get the TV that you have been hoping for. You don't have to beat someone to the punch. You absolutely can dwell in honor and respectful mutual energy and include that in your manifestation. All right, the next energy that we want, this is beautiful. This is the energy of creation. We have here the person making something. All of us have something within us that we are to bring to the world. There is an innate and natural gift that we are embodying in our individual state. There is something in you that speaks to your joy and your passion. And when you do it, you don't think about the time and the hours spent. You know, one thing that I would always tell people about Michael Jordan would be playing basketball whether he was paid for it or not, because he loves the game. He loved basketball. If he did not have a love of that, then he would not have risen to the heights and been so gloriously amazing at it as he was. You know, yes, you can do things and have a love of the money that you get from doing those things, but my guess is that that's a short-lived experience. And so examine what it is that you want to create in this time as you are planting your seeds. Look to what you need to make you happy, that takes you to your happy place. You might be a good knitter. You might crochet things. You might be an awesome hairstylist. You may be good at delivering information. You may be a person who cooks well. All of those gifts that are within you are absolutely meant. Do not be afraid to plant the seeds that are based on your creative abilities and those things that bring you joy. It says here, imaginative, inventive, and expressive. That light of illumination that you find within the hermit's cave can absolutely help you to understand what it is that you should do. You can look for that spark of creation, inspiration that says, oh, I wonder if I could do. And the answer is that spark came from somewhere, it came from your divine self. So don't wander anymore. You definitely can do that as you're planting your seeds. All right. Now, I spoke earlier about the energy of stress. Look at this little tea kettle here, right? Root chakra is red. We have the energy right here that is very much red. We see the fire and the flames under it. Most of the times, the way that things happen in the 3D matrix that we live in, especially in the United States, is one of go, 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 stress, stress, stress. I got to get to work on time. I got to beat traffic. I got to get the project in. I got to make the deadline. If I don't do this, then what's going to happen? How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to survive? How am I going to pay my house note or my car note? How am I going to find a place to live? The stress and the pressure is constant if you allow it to be so. This is one of the energies that you absolutely do not want to bring into. You want to weed it out of your garden, because again, you could have the life that you envision for yourself, but the energetic toll of that life could be significant, and that actually could cost you your life. So if you are sedentary because your job requires you to work 9-hour days sitting in a desk, and then you have a heart attack, then you achieved your goal of being CEO, of being president, of being the high powered boss person, but your body paid the price on that. So you absolutely want to make sure that when you are planting your seeds, you are in a space of peacefulness and serenity. And that trust, when you trust things, you don't have to stress about them. So I absolutely encourage you to unplug, take a bath, take a shower. Don't think about things when you're doing it. When you're in your car, don't think about the day ahead of you. Allow for that time when you're not worrying about things to come forward so that those creative sparks have space to come through. Okay. Stress is like the number one killer. I honestly believe that. All right. The next thing here, we have hopeless. All right. As you can see, the energy of this card is the ship is going down in the storm. And I know we are getting ready. There's a hurricane down in Florida. People are going to be, filled with the possibility that they will lose property and possessions that will be damaged in the course of this. And we absolutely hold space for the recovery of everyone who experiences a loss. And we pray and hope that there are no loss of life for certain. But one of the things that a lot of times we think that there is no way out. When we start to think about, oh, if only I could, I don't see how I could leave here. I would love if I could leave this job, but I just don't know how I could do it. I guess I'm going to be stuck. I only have 10 more years to retirement. If I leave, then what will I do? So this is very much, an energy that sometimes people don't even realize that you are seeding into your soil. Well, I could only ever hope to have XYZ, but it really wouldn't be reasonable for me to expect ABC. I can't get that raise that I want because they've already extended the budget for this year. I'm not going to get that promotion I want because so and so is already here and they're more qualified. So there is it's disguised as rationality. We think we're employing our logical frameworks, but a lot of times what we are actually doing is depressing ourselves and putting a hopeless energy into things. We think, well, I'll settle for. Now, the message of this card is always interesting because what I see in it is that when the ship goes down, what we find in times like the Titanic, or when cargoes go down, what we find out is that the insurance on the cargo was a lot higher than the actual contents of the cargo. And so even though it may seem like all is lost, all is down, what we have to understand is that there is a blessed assurance, there is insurance, there is recovery. If you walk away from something that is not serving you, or if the seed of intention that you have is that you live a happier life because you are unhappy in the now moment. So know that yes, there is an opportunity for you to shift, and the way you do that will be by planting the seeds of conscious intention. So we're weeding out the energy of hopelessness. Okay, we're on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Grief. Look at this. Sorrow, heartbroken, and bereaved. All right. So living in this world, in this matrix, is hard. All right. We take a lot of blows to ourself, to our emotional body. We experience a lot of things that are very hurtful. A lot of times what we do is that we get so disappointed and we grieve a future that we feel is not going to manifest us. We grieve for the job we never got. We grieve for the degree that we never finished, the relationship, the one that got away. And so a lot of times we have these unresolved wounds in ourselves, and we're not realizing that we're carrying the energy of that forward, and that we're jaded then in what we're manifesting on the future potential. So what that looks like is you haven't healed over your divorce, and therefore you settle for a relationship that is not as risky, that is not as challenging, that it also is, it's like you bargained away truly giving away your heart to someone because you're still grieving over the fact that your initial relationship that you did invest your heart in did not go so well. And you can see this person is just like really curled up into a ball in the fetal position. We have to know that grieving is okay. Like, we don't need to bypass things. You may actually be sad. You may have a project that you put a lot of time and effort into that did not go well, that bombed, was not received. You did not get the client. We're not just supposed to say, oh, well, I put 6 months of my work into that and it didn't happen. We literally can grieve that and acknowledge the deeply painful experience of having invested our energy into something. I know for a fact in farming, if they plant a crop or if the peach trees are destroyed, there are people who grieve when those fields washed away because this was everything that you invested in. Everything you put your hard earned toil and labor into, you grieve, but then you also know that you then must plant again. So allow the energy of grief to be in your space, but process it so that it does not remain there. Give it its time, acknowledge that it's there, shed a tear or two, and then move forward. So we are weeding the energy of grief. Okay, and again, we have this energy of trapped. All right. We have this tiger again with the orange, the creative energy, the sacral chakra, which is where our passions, passionate pursuits, and energies come from. This area. We have here this tiger pacing in his cage, trying to get out. Many times we have unrealized potential, and what happens is like we know we have an idea for something that could be an improvement at work, but we don't have a person who will listen to it, or we're so far down the food chain that we cannot actually hope that those ideas and suggestions would be heard by the right people in order to go ahead and make the changes that we see could happen. This frustrates. I know it's been frustrating to me in my professional career as well. The energy of this creativity that is locked within you that has no outlet for its expression can feel very negative when you are allowing it to stay and remain inside of you. So, what you can ask for in your seed planting is that you have a place where you can contribute the best of your skills and the best of your knowledge and learning and experience. You ask in your intention and you feel the feeling of being free to do what it is you know how to do. You feel the feeling of being encouraged and supported by your colleagues or by your peers or by your mate. You don't feel the desperation of being trapped and unable to let these things out. Okay, so the energies that we have been shown to weed are being trapped, grieving, hopeless, stressed, unsure, and jealous. So we have one, two, three, four, five, 6 out of 9 things are items that we need to clear from our soil at this time and to go within and look to see during this hermit opportunity to go within and see if you can find the places where these energies are resonating. And there's no shame in this. This is being brought to our awareness so that we can work on it and go ahead. When a farmer sees weeds coming up, he doesn't be like, oh my God, I'm such a terrible farmer. He goes out and he just does what he needs to do, which is get the weeds out. You know what I'm saying? There's not a judgment about that. It's just part of the growing and planting process. The things that we need to encourage at this time are the energy of creativity, respectful, and trusting. All right. The trust is such a beautiful thing because it's like you have to know that what is in you that is meant for you is meant for you to express and trust yourself and know that what you give can and will be returned to you in kind. Okay, this is beautiful. Now, I also received guidance to look at from the Oracle of E. Since we're looking at energy, this is a deck by Pam Grout and Colette Baron Reed. This is the Oracle of E. So I just want to see a single card here to talk about what we need to, like an energetic message. These cards are very interesting. So I'm curious to see. Oh, they kind of got a little clever humor to them. So I want to see additional energy messages from the Oracle of E for us today. Single card. Pick up after yourself. So this is a 7, 34, 7. This is the energy for me of the divine feminine. Okay, so picking up after yourself. How many times do parents say to their kids, you need to pick up after yourself? You say it to your roommates, you say it to people in your work break room, right? Like, don't just leave clutter around. So, one of the things that we need to do is open up our personal cupboards, open up our personal selves, use that hermit time to go in and pick up the pieces of these energies that are still remaining in us. We absolutely, it's like taking your soil through a sieve to make sure that you're filtering out any rocks and things like that, or you're making sure your seeds are all the right seeds and you remove things from it so that it's not planted. So picking up after yourself means go ahead and review. If there's grief in your room, pick it up, feel it, process it. If there's jealousy in your energy, if you've left pieces of yourself behind because you felt that you could not incorporate them into your reality, that you were not going to be able to achieve all that you desire, pick up those pieces too. Okay, so pick up after yourself. Don't leave the clutter on the inside in your internal world. You will not be doing yourself a service in order to manifest highest and best good. Okay, now we're getting towards the end of the reading here. I wanted to also see what from the Native Heart Healing Oracle guidance is here to talk about a mandala for us to use as a focal and center point as we are in our hermit mode of dwelling within, looking at the seeds and weeding what we do not want to be in our energy body. All right. Beautiful deck, Native Healing Oracle, getting a mandala. Oh, unity. This is beautiful. This card is, we are creating with the divine. There is no separation between you and your divine self. So the purple is the color of like the crown chakra, the awareness of the union of yourself with your higher aspects. You are operating at a level of co-creating your reality. There is nothing that you are doing that is existing outside of the all that is. So when you step into that union, that unity of realizing I am in my divinity and what I create is aligned with the divine, this is a beautiful message. I love this. This is crown chakra activation. It's being in your hermit, illuminating the light of the divine within you so that you can be a conscious creator of your highest vibrational opportunity. Okay, now last but not least, I have two beautiful decks here. These are the Sea Melodies and the Whispering Woods. So this is for earth and for water energy. These cards are by a lady, Jessica Lee Art. You can look up on Etsy and also on Instagram at Jess Lee Art, JESSLEART. These decks are beautiful, and I love it because she is an independent artist who has basically brought her creative gifts to the world in a very real and tangible way. These decks are beautiful. They come in a nice little small boxes, okay? And so, you know, she has embodied her mission. She has a creative gift inside of her that she has decided to use to create things such as this oracle deck, and I think that's beautiful. So what I want to find out is from the water element, what guidance is there for us in terms of the emotions that we are going to be watering our soil with. As we know, water is life. And so also the salt water is the salt water of the womb of conscious creation of the mother, who is the amniotic fluid. It is also the salt of tears, which is where we grieve through that which we experienced and allow it to be released. But more importantly, we're just going to be looking to see what we are watering our fertile soil with first. Change. Know when to move to a new shell, especially if yours no longer fits. This is perfect. So, what you want to change in your life, now is the time for you to think about that with conscious intention, and all the things that you do not like that you're experiencing in your energetic body. If you're stressing, if you're grieving, if you feel trapped, we don't want to think about those things. We want to think and feel the opposite of that. We want to feel peace. We want to feel freedom. We want to feel contentment. We want to feel the feeling of being in abundance on all levels. Okay. So know when to move to a new shell, especially if yours no longer fits. Beautiful message. And perseverance is on the bottom of the deck. Stay the course. We have to know that the seed planted takes time to grow. It does not manifest overnight, okay? Like I said, we can't pull up the carrots and see if the carrots has grown already. We have to understand the growth cycle takes time for it to move forward, so that the full harvest of all the energies that we're infusing, and we keep the vibration, we keep the high vibration while we are nurturing and tending our gardens until our seeds begin to manifest. So I also am getting messages in from the whispering woods, which to me is very much about the earth energy. What are we bringing out into our soil, and what is going to come forth for us after this cycle, after the intentions that we are planting right now? So first we have wish. Make a wish with a dandelion in the wind. This is beautiful. And I'm laughing because when I looked at images to use for my beginning of this video, I actually looked at a dandelion image, but I decided not to use it because I felt like dandelions get a bad rap, right? You know, everybody's like, oh, you got to get the dandelions out of the yard. Because they're weeds. But I actually think dandelions are very beautiful, and I didn't want to contribute to the continued like negativity about dandelions being weeds. You know what I'm saying? So I did not choose it. But here we have the dandelion. Make a wish with a dandelion in the wind. So absolutely, uh, blowing the dandelion. When you do that, what you're speaking, what you're saying, what you're intoning, the breath of life that you are putting into your manifestations is absolutely then spreading those seeds out to where they will land on the fertile soil for you. And the last thing is origins. Remember your roots. We are rooted in the divine. Our roots run deep into Mother Gaia. We are conscious creator beings. And when we recognize and step back into the knowingness of our power and our ability and that which is naturally given to us to be and to embody, then we will absolutely be creating from a different space. We are wise, we are powerful, we are aligned more than we ever understand. We dwell in a state of constant abundance and blessing, and it's just up to us to open ourselves up and to move into a place where we align with that energy so that it can come forward, and then our 3D reality can reflect our 5D potentiality. Okay, so I am so thankful for each of you who joined me for this message this evening. I was so excited this morning, like when they were saying, my guys were saying seeding and weeding, seeding and weeding. I was like, okay, I wanted to see for myself because I am living this as well, right? So this is my time. Somebody I was watching earlier, she said, write down your 9 wishes, your 9 wants, like write down and envision right now in this seed moment. And so I would encourage you to do the same and to not just write it, but to feel it. So sit in the energy of feeling all that you desire, the happiness of it, the joy of it, because joy and love are what are making this world go round. And the more of us that align with that, then the higher the vibration of the planet goes. So we are all doing this work together, and we're frequency raising, and know that you don't have to dwell in any kind of low vibrational reality, that the opportunity is for you here now and every month and every moment. It's not like you'll miss an opportunity. It's just, if you catch certain energies that are flowing, then it gets a little bit easier for you. But that's not to say that any given moment cannot be your opportunity. So if you are watching this at some future point and it's not the new moon in Virgo, know and understand that you were brought to hear this in this now moment, and that it is the right now moment for you and for the purpose in which you can begin to work towards consciously manifesting for yourself. So I thank each of you for joining me for this live. Please connect with me on Facebook, subscribe, like, share. If you find it resonant, thank you for all of you who are making comments this evening. I appreciate your contribution and being part of the Good Vibe Tribe. So until next time, I wish you all of the blessings that you could possibly hold, and that those blessings will spill out from your arms to the world around you, excuse me, so that the world is blessed by your overflow. The light in me absolutely honors the light in you. Namaste.